been essentially been forgotten. So our mission, when we formed the Filipino Veterans Recognition Education Project, is to really raise awareness about this forgotten American story. So we formed ourselves, I can't believe it's been 3 years ago, Ben, when we started meeting, like May 2013. I was looking at my diary. May 2013, you know, Erwin and Sunny and Marie, we all started meeting in a bar, you know, just talking about how we need to do this. And
That was the other meeting.
other meeting. Well, this is so similar, but it's all about Filipino veterans. But in a year, we were able to establish the foundation for a project. And a foundation which really has 4 aspects to it. A project which includes research, legislative campaign, public information, and of course, a digital education project that we hope to partner with the Smithsonian. So today we have a distinguished panel of experts, you know, who will speak about each of these aspects of the project. We do have a film. It's an 18-minute film. How many of you have seen this before? I know most of you have, but for those of you who haven't, Sunny will.
The 5-minute one.
Oh, the 5-minute one. Okay, great. So we'll start with that, but let me first introduce the panel who will be helping me with this presentation. And I'd like to first thank Ben for putting this together. So we have Sunny Izon, who is a film documentarian. He was born in the Philippines. He's a documentary filmmaker, resides in Maryland with his wife, Catherine, and daughter, Julia. He has won many national awards for his work, which includes some 100 nationally televised programs, done mainly for PBS and also for the National Geographic television. I know Jason is interested in what Sunny does, so you can have conversations later.
That's okay.
He was the producer of Pearls, the first PBS series on Asians in America. Sunny graduated with honors from the University of Maryland with a BA in English Literature. His famous work is An Untold Triumph, which tells the story of Filipino-American soldiers during World War II. And this film won the Audience Award at the Hawaii International Film Festival in 2002. So we're really honored to have Sunny as part of our board and Film That Rep, because he's a valuable asset in terms of the public information campaign that we do have. Our second panelist is Chris Capasola, professor of history at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. You know, we've been participating in these conference calls the last 2 years, and this is my first time to meet you, so it's an honor, Chris. And he teaches classes on political and legal history, war and the military, and the history of immigration. He's the author of Uncle Sam Wants You, World War I and the Making of the Modern American Citizen, and is currently completing a history of Filipino soldiers in the armed forces of the United States and Philippines from the 1890s to the present. He is also co-curator of the Volunteers Americans Joined World War I, a historical exhibition commemorating the centennial of the First World War. I'm honored to finally meet you, Chris. Our third panelist is Marie Blanco. We have the honor of having someone who really worked with one of our champions in the U.S. Senate, Senator Daniel Pinoy. I'm sure most of you have heard of him. She was the chief of staff for Senator Pinoy for, what, how many years? 34 years. Well, she's an long-time veteran in Capitol Hill. So we're really honored that she is with us, because she knows the inside out, all the, how Congress works. And she's been a valuable asset in terms of the legislative campaign for this project. And she'll be talking to us more about, how we went about procuring this bill, who the people in Congress we work with, and where are we at now in terms of the congressional campaign that we're trying to wage with the grassroots support. And last but not least, Sani Busa. Sani Busa is a West Point graduate. He's also a professor of history, a lecturer on foreign affairs, a State Department diplomat. He's been to several places, the Philippines, Kuwait, Ethiopia, in all the struggle spots. And Sani is also a community leader. He's the chairman of the board of the Filipino American Foundation for Charities. And he'll be talking to us more about the community engagement in this whole project. I also want to acknowledge some of the members of the board of Philippine Rap because they're here. Christy, sorry,
Puazo.
Ozo.
Panis is the Filipino.
Yes, she's the regional director for Philippine Rap based in
Houston, Region 7.
Region 7. She's been working with Noni Cabana and really mobilizing the whole region, Texas and
New Mexico, Louisiana,
New Mexico.
Oklahoma, Arkansas.
And we also have Jelly Caranda, who is also a regional director from the Midwest. Midwest.
All right.
And of course, Erwin. I don't talk about Erwin. Erwin moved here to New York, but he's always been part of our helping us with the communications, drafting press releases. So we really have a good board helping us. So without further ado, let me start then with Sunny, who will show us a 5-minute video and talk about how this came about as well. So,
Hi.
Sunny is on.
Good morning.
All right.
You know, there's really, in terms of what you're going to see, I was looking back on, there are really two events. One, the circumstance of my birth, the other, the circumstance of my immigration that kind of coalesced in this film. I was born in 1946 in Manila. And those of you that know Manila, it was pretty devastated right after the war. And I remember as a kid growing up, there was all this army material, old radios, trucks, bullets, It's lucky we didn't die as kids because we were playing with these bullets. But when we played war, we had the real stuff we were playing with. And it all sort of made me curious. It's like there was this big thing that happened and it just missed me, It was like coming to a party and all the balloons are down and confetti's down. And I knew something big happened, but I didn't know what. And I think it sort of instilled a lifelong curiosity and it sort of, I was, as they call it in Tagalog, bitin, it's like I wanted to know what happened. And the other is, of course, in 1967, I came to the US. I was 20 years old. I came from a culture where I was part of the majority. Everybody looked like me, spoke Tagalog, and it was a familiar, comfortable environment. But when I came here in 67, all of a sudden, I felt invisible. I didn't see myself. I didn't see myself in the billboards, in the ads, in the movies, wherever. It was like I didn't exist. And I think that was one of the impetus for me to start getting involved with things that were Asian American and specifically, Filipino American, because I wanted to see our image. I wanted to be able to be involved in doing that. And when I got involved with my first PBS show in '73 and realized that each national show has a potential audience for 2 to 3 million households, I said, wow, that's a lot of hearts and minds and eyes and ears. So that's when I started down that road, and I think ever since I've really been involved in one form or another with producing Asian American history on film. In fact, my co-producer, Sharon Del Mendo, is here, who is working with me as co-producer on our latest venture, which is an open door, Holocaust Haven in the Philippines. It's how the Philippines was able to save much more Jews than Schindler. And we are, in fact, having a special screening in Warsaw next month at the Palace of Culture. And then after that, we go to Manila for the Cinemalaya Film Festival, where we are an official selection, August 5th. So, this film is near and dear to me. My father was a guerrilla fighter, and he was also the publisher of The Liberator, which was the anti-Japanese propaganda paper that ran for about 3 years. In fact, I've been looking. If you guys find it, let me know. There's a wanted poster of my father, because one of his art professors ratted him out to the Japanese. They were going around saying, do you know whose style this is? Because he would draw the cover of The Liberator. And one of his professors said, oh no, that's Aesop. So they had posters circulating in Manila looking for my dad, wanted dead or alive poster. And they always thought he was publishing in Manila because it was so well laid out and multiple color printings, but they were publishing up in the mountains, with a gas-fired press. So every time I do something on World War II, I think of my dad and what they had to go through. It's my small way of paying back something we could not participate in, but at least honor. So let's see if this thing works. Can somebody get the lights so we can get a little bit more contrast on it?